Because when you go in to get your booty probe, you generally don't want anybody to know who you are.
This is what I'm saying. A 3, a 2, a 1. Everybody, welcome to Read This, Read That. I am Jacque Reid.
I'm Joy Reid.
Girl, the makeup, the face is beats, beats, beats. Where are you going? Can you tell us?
I'm not going anywhere. I was actually recording the promo for the new show. So we had to do a little, and we did a little camera test for the show. So I am working on the Joy Reid Show, getting it ready to go. We're trying to get it fit as a fiddle and ready to launch. So we did a little promo shoot today.
It's made up for it. Fantastic. We're very excited about it. Can you tell us any? Can you share anything? Any new details? A launch date?
Well,
how many days a week?
Well, so we can, okay, I'll give you guys a little tea. The tea would be that it's going to be launching in early June. We haven't solidified the exact date yet, but it's going to be 3 days a week. And we've already recorded our first 2 interviews, and they're pretty great. And they're pretty relevant to what's happening today. And yeah, that's what I'll say.
How are you feeling about everything? This is a big deal.
It's a big deal. It's a little overwhelming because, as you know, I have a lot on my plate and, I've been involved in the State of the People Power Tour and doing a lot of other things. So it's a lot, and trying to fit in this launch and getting that together. It's a lot. We have to get a musical track done. We have to get graphics done. We had to do some initial interviews. So we'd have some stuff in the can. Like, it's a lot, and so it's been very hectic and very crazy, but it's coming along. And I think it's going to be a great show.
I'm very excited. And I just want to say, just from conversations that we've been having in the past week or so, just about what's coming, I just want to let everybody know, you all, this is going to be so doggone good. I was getting goosebumps the other day when we were talking about some of the things that are coming, the interviews that you've gotten. Like, I feel right with the world again, somewhat. Like, I feel like I have a great source where I can get my political news and information, like a trusted person, a sane, trusted person, because the news media is just compromised now. It's like I read my little Atlantic articles, and that's, I watched Don Lemon, and now I can definitely start watching you. I watch a lot of news on Substack now because that's where like a lot of the credible people are going. I love that Chris Matthews is back with Jim Acosta.
Paul Krugman, Michael Harriot. There's a lot of good people on Substack. But you're right. And I feel like the thing is that people are breaking away from their old habits too of where they get information. And everyone was so addicted to cable, and cable was the thing from the 80s until recently. But you're seeing not just cable, but also broadcast networks bend the knee. I mean, 60 Minutes just lost, CBS just ousted a chief executive that was, a senior person at CBS who had really stuck by 60 Minutes. As 60 Minutes tried to maintain its integrity, which it is so far still doing. But you're seeing Trump suing all of these media companies, and some of them buckling and trying to accommodate him. It's frightening because we are in an autocratic moment, and we really need the media to be trustworthy and to be strong and to not back down. And so what I'm trying to do is, y'all know me already. I'm too old and setting my ways to back down. And I'm an OG opponent of Donald Trump. So we're going to keep it rolling, but factual and fair. And I think it's going to be fun. Factual, fair, and fun.
I think it is true. And just to comment on 60 Minutes for a second there, because the executive producer, longstanding executive producer, I can't remember his name, stepped away from 60 Minutes recently. I think we might have mentioned it on the show a couple of weeks ago, but he stepped away, and because he felt like he lost his independence to cover stories that he had been doing in the way that he had been doing credibly over the years. And so he decided to step away. And so I don't even know, because we don't know what's going on behind the scenes. I don't even know if we can trust the way that even a 60 Minutes approaches the story, because there's been this merging over the years, and we saw it happen in real time as we were, in this business in the way that we were, where, business and corporations, took control of the media. I mean, businesses were always a part of news media in paying the bills, but there was this separation of the companies not getting involved with the journalism of it. But now that line has been washed away. It's over. Gone. And we've seen it. This segment sponsored by, the weather is sponsored by.
They might as well do that, right? You're right. Arthur Daniels Midland is like all over the Sunday shows when you look at the commercials, and you're seeing like, Jeff Bezos directly interfering with the Washington Post to the point where even, some conservative columnists have quit. And it's, the LA Times being interfered with by their South African owner because he wants it to be more pro-Trump. Like people are taking, really storied journalistic institutions and putting them in the service of the current president. That's crazy. Like that's actually crazy. and the fact that that's happening in America, I think for a lot of people is shocking. But the good thing is we still do have independent media and independent voices. I'm a big supporter of Mehdi Hassan, love Zateo. Love Michael Harriot, Contraband Camp. There's like all these great places to get information. You don't necessarily have to go to the old sources. You can go to new places. And so I'm going to be a new place too. We're going to have a little Joy Reid show. You can get your information from me.
Yes, we are. And going to be nothing little about it. But I'm glad to hear that's just 3 days a week and not 5.
We go manage the schedule, because I also have another podcast. I think it's called Read This, Read That. And I have a Substack, and I have so much going on that I want to make sure I'm not burning myself out and also burning the audience out, because you can only take so much joy.
We'll take all the joy that we can get, but we are also on board, as your loving audience, we're also on board for you to self-care. So we do love to hear, I'm speaking for everyone. We do love to hear that you're not going to do too much, that you're going to slowly kind of get into this with 3 days a week. It's such refreshing news, because that means that for 2 days out of the week, we're not going to see you, right? You're not going to pop up over here. You're not going to pop up over there. You're going to be resting and relaxing and relating and releasing.
Yes,
trying.
Sure.
I keep telling you, please don't make me come to your house. Tiffany Cross and I were talking about coming there for like about a week or two and just really kind of kick the door down and just come in and make you eat a certain way, wellness walks, all the things. We're still thinking about it, just FYI. Oh, it's a serious conversation.
It's a serious thing. Well, and that actually is a great lead into my rundown. I mean, to my wind down. My wind down is actually
away from your wellness if you want to. Go ahead.
No, my wind down actually is related. And by the way, I am having my wind down is related to what I'm drinking here, which is white grape juice, not alcohol, just plain old.
I love that glass.
White grape juice. So this is a story. This is a very Jacque Reid-esque wind down. So this week, I, did take a break from the State of the People Power Tour for an actual legitimate good reason, not just because we had to do the run up to the show, but also to get a colonoscopy.
Ooh.
Baby, let me tell you something. It is so interesting getting a colonoscopy when people know who you are, because there's nothing weirder than going to the clinic where your colon, the doctor's office where your clinic's going to be getting done, and be totally undressed in the open to the back uniform that you have to get in order to, you got to get naked and put on the little robe, and have them go, and having the nurse go, "Oh my God, I am your biggest fan. I watched you every night on MSNBC," and you're like, "Ah, shit, people know who I am." You know what I mean? I had a hat on. I had like my little disguise. I had a little baseball cap. I thought I was looking so incognito. Baby, we were taking selfies when it was done with the nurses. Everyone was fabulous. When I tell you,
how was that? That's so inappropriate.
It's so weird. It's so weird to do anything normal people have to do when people know who you are, because you're not anonymous in going in and getting this like medical procedure done. But the good news and then the other piece of it, the other piece of the colonoscopy, the part that is not a nightmare, is all the stuff you have to do to get ready for it. You have to basically go on a liquid diet 24 hours before. You can only drink liquid. So I was literally living on my vegan vegetable broth that I seasoned up real well. I put all the different seasonings. I put the salt. I put a little hot red pepper. I put a little garlic powder, onion powder. You know, that's what we do. The West Indians is garlic powder, onion powder, little salt, little black pepper and red pepper. So I had some spicy vegan veggie broth for a full 24 hours. That's all I drank, plus tea with no sugar. And then before that, you had to go on this really special diet to soften your stuff up. You know what I mean? So I'm literally eating like nuts and lettuce and yogurt. It was such a weird week because our youngest son was here and our friend Wanj was here, and they are great cooks. They are amazing cooks. And so I could barely even eat any of the food because I'm like, I have to be on this little weird colonoscopy diet, but I got through it. I got my colon check and my colon is A-okay.
Okay.
But it's weird when people are like, oh my God, you're here for a colonoscopy. I know you're about to get your butt probed, but you are my favorite anchor from MSNBC.
I'm sorry.
Oh, and you're like, oh, okay. Here I am in my little back out, ass out robe. And thank you very much.
That is so inappropriate and unprofessional. And see, you're so nice when it comes to stuff like that, but that should not be happening when you're getting a medical procedure. And I know you're going to be like, it's okay.
It's fine. People are so sweet. People are so sweet. And, we love the people, and the people are kind and they're very nice. It's just weird. It's just weird.
It's weird because it's inappropriate. It doesn't matter how nice they are. You shouldn't do that when someone is getting a medical procedure, particularly someone where their ass is up in the air, and being probed, and you've got to undress. Like, that should not see this. Oh, don't tell my therapist.
I can only imagine the stories. Oh my God. Like, I literally was in the room with Joy Reid's ass.
This is what I'm saying.
Her naked ass.
See, this is why you're so nice. So you took selfies with these people?
At the end. Not during.
Were you like, it wasn't like you were like,
girl, no, not while I was undressed. But when I got dressed again. Yeah, no, not while I was undressed. Once I was done, I'm about to leave a bunch of cute pictures. It was fun.
Girl.
It was fun. It was fun. They were super sweet.
You know what this is like?
No.
You're not going to talk your way out of this one. You're not going to like make it seem like these people were okay to do this. This is inappropriate and unprofessional. I'm going to say you can be nice, sip your drink, gulp it if you want to. But this is like that time. Remember years ago when we had Kim Fields on Read This, Read That? And she was telling us about this audition or something that she went on, and she went in this guy's office, and the guy said to her that he always wanted to F Tootie. Remember, she told us that?
Oh my God, I forgot about that.
Remember? And you and we were telling her during the show, but then we told her after how inappropriate that was for this guy to say that to her. And she was like, really? We were like, girl, yes.
Oh my God, I remember. That is a classic episode. We need to play a clip. Let's pull it. Pull the clip. That is so wild. But this is not like that.
No, it's not. You are the Kim Fields in this situation. You are Kim Fields. That is grossly inappropriate. Y'all tell us in the comments what you think.
Tell us in the comments. If you were a nurse or a doctor and like Beyonce came in to get her colon looked at, wouldn't you say, oh my God, I'm a huge fan of your music? Like, that's just normal human behavior.
No, it's not. No,
yes, it is.
No, I do not want someone in the possibility. Like, if I'm Beyonce, I want to go somewhere where none of that is happening, where I can be a patient just like anybody else, where I don't have.
What are you gonna do that to Beyonce?
Where I don't have Listen, it can happen. It can happen. No, you don't want people who are fanning out. You want people who are professional and focused on your medical care. not fanning out with the possibility of them telling pillow talking with a spouse or their sister or anything about something, because you know that happens. Even though they're not supposed to talk about these things, people have conversations. You know what I mean?
Maybe.
I wouldn't want that happening. I think that's very
like, her colon was lit. It was the best colon I've ever seen.
Girl, y'all gonna have me drinking alcohol today. That is horrible. To the staff that performed her colonoscopy, shame.
Y'all fine. It's fine. Y'all were cute. It were adorable. And,
no,
and they had actually done, you know, my husband's colonoscopy before. So he had already experienced it before. They knew him. They remembered that they had done his too. It was the same people.
It's not like you're at a restaurant or at the DMV.
Oh, the DMV is, listen, let me tell you how we did the DMV. When we had to go get our drop, because, you know, the DMV is the work. Like, you have to stand there for hours. You have to stay there for hours. I will admit, and normally I don't do celebrity shit where I'm like, let me get some celebrity favor. But in this one, baby, I did. We had a friend that got us to go the back way, and rather than wait in a line, because it would have been it would have just been me and, you know, and this is a very black town where I live. So if we were going in there, it would have been a lot of MSNBC viewers. So they let us do it where we went through like the managerial side, and we did not even go through. And that was the one time I've ever done that. And I, you know, if that was wrong, I apologize. But we did, because I was like, I am not going to be in here for 8 hours.
The disruption that somebody like you would have coming into a DMV, right?
And we just disrupt everything.
That's one thing. But that's the DMV, right? That's not a medical procedure in a private girl. You
doesn't count nice. What you think. These people were super nice, and I thought they were
nice all day, but it's still inappropriate and unprofessional. And I hope they listen to the show. I hope they watch it. Shame on God, y'all.
They're gonna be in the comments like, we just wanted to tell them, damn, Jackie,
get it together. Be professional. It is unprofessional. Oh my God.
They were nice. But it's weird. I mean, I'm just gonna say it is weird.
Why is it weird?
Booty's out.
Why is it weird? If it's professional and they were nice, what was weird about it?
Because when you go in to get your booty probe, you generally don't want anybody to know who you are.
This is what I'm saying. I can't with you in the niceness. I can't. I can't.
What's your wind down, ma'am?
My wind down is your wind down. It's my outrage over your wind down.
Your outrage is your wind down.
Oh my God.
But it's good. God. I mean, you forgot the whole moral of the story. The moral of the story is get your colonoscopies. It's very important for your health. And I did it because I'm doing self-care. You see how I brought it back around to self-care? You got to get your colonoscopy done. And I got to use this NBC insurance while I still have it.
They should have given you that on the house. And they should throw in colonoscopies for the whole house.
Everybody gets a free colonoscopy.
For that, for the selfies and everything. It's like, what you getting?
That's hilarious.
At least at the DMV, they brought you through the back door and gave you VIP service.
They did. They truly did. All right, moving on. What's your wind down? Or are we moving on fully?
I'm so upset. I'm so bothered. How does this not bother you? What is wrong with you? Oh my God. Well, my wind down, if I can even focus. I can't wait to see the comments. I can't wait to see. I'm sure people are going to be like, nah. We love Joey. It's fine.
I'm going to say it like that. That's the voice that we're going to use. Don't say that to me. Don't say those things to me.
Oh my God. I'm in shock over that. Like, I will never get over it. Oh my God.
I can't believe I talked about colonoscopy on the podcast. That's actually crazy.
No, it's good to talk about these things because
it's important
to encourage people to get that procedure done.
Get it done.
And not just,
because you see, Joe Biden just got diagnosed with cancer, and the reality is we miss a lot of cancers until they are late in the game.
And if the president of the former president of the United States, who has the best doctors,
that's right.
I'm sure he wasn't taking selfies. I bet they're very professional in that situation. But anyway, but we're going to talk about Joe Biden in just a moment because we do want to talk about him. But Joy and I are both praying for his family, and for him. But anyway, we're going to get to that.
Wind it down.
Girl, I got to do a one-on-one with Misty Copeland.
Ooh, do tell.
I know. So I went to San Antonio to moderate to MC an awards luncheon for the Women Presidents Association. And this is an organization that has chapters, I should say, across the country. No, around the world. And to be a member, your business has to make at least $1 million. And girl, these women are incredible, and it's all types of businesses, but mostly entrepreneurs, right? Like a strong representation of Black women, but very multicultural. And so I emceed this awards luncheon, and then the next day I did a fireside chat with Misty Copeland. Mm-hmm. I've never met her before.
Oh, she's lovely.
Never seen her perform, unfortunately. But I will say that the breaking news that I got from that moment, and I got to ask her about it, even though she doesn't want to give details, is that she's coming back to the stage.
Oh,
she has been away from the stage for 5 years. She had a baby, and she has several businesses, which is why she was perfect for this, to come before this organization. And we got to talk about so many things. It was a great one-on-one. I mean, I had her for like almost an hour to just sit. I mean, girl, you know how you research for a big interview.
Yes.
I was researching and really digging in, and she really enjoyed the conversation. I'm hoping to get a copy of it, soon, so I can share it on my YouTube channel. But it was really such a great discussion, and I got to sit with her before it started, and then there was a ballet performance. But the highlight for me was getting to meet Misty Copeland. And you know what I didn't do during that? We were backstage together. We were on stage together. We walked up there. You know what I didn't do? Get a selfie. Didn't do it. Didn't do it. That's when you get a selfie.
That would be a good time.
That would be an appropriate moment to get a selfie, but I didn't do it.
Yeah. You just won't throw that out there.
Throw that out there.
But you know what? It depends on the time and place, because you're right. I mean, there was this one time that I interviewed Jay-Z on stage when he executive produced a film about that young man who was incarcerated for allegedly stealing a bag, and then ended up killing himself at 22 years old. And he executive produced the film. Weirdly enough, Harvey Weinstein was it was Harvey Weinstein's company, so Harvey Weinstein was there. Very weird. But Jay-Z and I were sitting on stage, and I'm a very big hip hop fan. And we ended up chatting about our kids and about parenting and about both being Gen Xers. And we had this really great conversation. And when it was done and it was over and I left, I thought to myself, I guess I should have gotten a picture. But in that moment, it didn't feel like the right thing to do, to be like, we just had this real meaningful conversation. Can you take a selfie with me? So I didn't do it. But I mean, I could have. I'm sure he probably would have given me one. He probably would have done this selfie. Nice guy.
Sometimes the memory is enough. The experience is enough. And there's a whole crowd there taking pictures.
Yeah. And there'll be pictures everywhere. They'll come up somewhere.
And what do you do with a selfie? Do you frame it? No, it stays in your phone. How many times have you taken a selfie out of, although yours from your colonoscopy will probably be
they're all over Facebook.
All over.
Hopefully there's no colonoscopies of my booty.
Hopefully they won't post it on social media. But hey.
No, and they wouldn't do that. And by the way, this
how do you know they wouldn't do that? Do you know these people?
Team was exceptionally professional. They did a great job.
Were not
wonderful people. And we didn't take selfies until way after, and I was dressed already. It was not a selfie when I was in my gown, nothing like that. So it was nothing like that. These people were wonderful. I want to big them up. They were fabulous and fantastic and adorable, and I thought they were very sweet. So just want to make that clear. There were no selfies in the gown. There weren't. I'm telling you, I was dressed.
Okay.
They were lovely and professional and wonderful, and they did a great job. And look, I got a great little propofol nap, and I got my colonoscopy looked at. Colon looked at.
I'm just gonna move on. We're just gonna agree to disagree on the lack of professionalism.
They were professional.
Medical team.
They were great.
No, they were not. But okay. I actually interviewed Jay-Z years ago when I was at BET, and it's amazing just how Bernie
is trying to be on the show. I think we should put Bernie on the show. It should be read this, read that, Bernie.
So I interviewed Jay-Z years and years ago, before he even got together with Beyonce, to tell you how long ago it was.
Yeah.
And one of the things he said to me, because we were talking about acting, and he was saying then that he really wanted to get into acting, but he wanted to do it the right way. He wanted to make sure that his skill level was on point.
Yeah.
So he didn't want to rush into it. He didn't want to, just throw himself into this, even though I'm sure so many people would have put Jay-Z in a movie over the years and still would. But I love that he is such a perfectionist, and has an appreciation for the craft that he didn't want to just throw himself in there. I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah.
But it was lovely meeting him. And after I did that interview, like about a week later, I went to an event and he was there. And as I was coming in, he was standing outside. He was like, "Hey, Jacque." I was like,
I know. He's really nice. Like Jay-Z is one of the nicest
grounded
people.
and down to earth.
Very down to earth, very normal. Just a really nice guy. Because we saw him again at the Tyler Perry studio opening, and he was just like, "Hey," he was just he's just a nice guy, and he does remember people. Like he's a good guy. Yeah, I like Jay-Z.
Did you know who you are?
I don't know. I didn't get a selfie with him then either. I don't have any selfies with Jay-Z. I should probably maybe try to get one. He's a really great rapper. One of the greatest of all time.
Added to the wall of selfies. Yeah. But Misty Copeland, incredible.
Fabulous. I'm so glad you did that. I remember we talked about it a lot before you went, and there was a lot of interesting stories going into it, which we will keep off the podcast. But I'm so glad that you went, that you had a good time. Hopefully you didn't get too many bugs crawling on you, because Texas is very buggy.
Girl, let me tell you, I was at this resort in San Antonio. It was fabulous.
Oh,
fabulous. Oh my God. They had lots of vegan food. They had like this man-made kind of lake kind of thing. The outdoor grounds, it was just vast. It was beautiful. It was just incredible. Yeah, it was really
nice. For the info. Love it.
I definitely will. I'm sure the staff would love to have you there so they can take selfies.
Move on. What's the shit you need to know, Jacque Reid?
Moving on to shit you need to know. Bernie, please stop.
Bernie wants to. Oh my God. I think Bernie should just be in the show. I think we should just
Bernie has anxiety. Let me just say this really quickly. So he has anxiety issues, and so he's on medication for his anxiety. And lately I give him CBD. Be quiet. I give him CBD drops along with his medication so that I don't have to over medicate him. Right. So I'm supposed to give him 2 pills in the morning, 2 at night. I give him 1 typically in the morning with the CBD drops. And then at night I give him, and that's been working. But lately he hasn't really needed anything consistently. So I've been skipping everything. And that's why we're dealing with this right now, because he has not had his meds for today.
He basically is giving you a diamond in silk. Every time you say something, he goes, and then you say nothing, he goes, oh.
So now let's get to some shit you need to know. This came out the other day. Former U.S. President Joe Biden, this just broke my heart, has been diagnosed with an aggressive form of prostate cancer that has metastasized to his bones. The diagnosis followed a medical evaluation prompted by urinary symptoms, during which a prostate nodule was discovered. Very detailed there. But I wanted to read this part. Okay, this gave me hope. Despite the advanced stage, the cancer is hormone sensitive, allowing for treatment options such as hormone therapy, chemotherapy, and radiation aimed at managing the disease and extending life expectancy. I was happy to read that because when I first heard about it, it's just how serious it was. But of course, you know, we are praying for Joe Biden, President Biden, and his family. Oh God, this breaks my heart. I really like Joe Biden. I mean, he's not a perfect person. He was not a perfect president. But he did a lot of great things in his lifetime, and has done a lot of great things in his lifetime. And it's sad to hear that he's dealing with this.
Yeah.
Right now.
Especially since cancer and, you know, early death have been a big part of his family and a big part of his, you know, experience on this planet. You know, he lost his son, Bo, his beloved son, Bo, to a different form of cancer after Bo served in the military and served in Iraq. And we don't know if that had relation to it. But then, of course, also he lost his young daughter and two children in a tragic car accident. I mean, his daughter and his first wife. Yeah, his first wife and his daughter died in a car accident when the daughter was an infant, and he was, I think this was around Christmas time, and Bo and the younger brother Hunter were the survivors, were the only survivors of the plane of that crash. And this is when Joe Biden just got elected to the United States Senate at 29 years old. He was the AOC of his generation. He's just had the cancer moonshot was a big part of his presidency, and his goals was to try to defeat cancer because he just had so much tragedy related to disease and illness and death. And I have to say that, you know, what's happened with Joe Biden, and, you know, I've been very critical of him. I think that his policies toward Israel and the Palestinians were deeply immoral. I think it's a stain on his legacy, his otherwise actually quite great legacy. I think you're right. I think his infrastructure investments will go down in history as historic. Don't love the way that bill got done and the stuff that got left out. But I think when you drive down the street and you see all them Biden bucks being spent, you can't argue our airports aren't getting fixed, our roads aren't getting fixed. That's him. I think that, you know, he was a very liberal, in a way, vice president to President Obama, which he pulled Obama to the left on things like gay marriage, on things like, you know, the health care bill. And he was his foreign policy guy. I think on supporting Ukraine, I think he's been fantastic. He was fantastic in terms of standing us up for Ukraine. So I think he did a lot of great things as president. I think the economy, bringing us back from COVID and the hell Donald Trump left us in, and the crappy economy Trump left, and the recession Trump left because of COVID. He fixed that, pulled us out of a recession. Big deal, big deal, big deal. But I have to say that what happened to Joe Biden, as was probably predictable, brought out the absolute stupid from the other side. The absolute stupid.
You knew that was going to happen.
You knew it was going to happen.
They have no
moral compass, nothing,
none whatsoever. They are the worst. They are deplorable. Just as Hillary Clinton labeled them, they are that. Them and anyone who is out there talking negatively and saying just cruel and just ugly things about Joe Biden in this moment. It is just distasteful. It is just and to make it a political thing. Like J.D. Vance making it about, we should have, this just goes to show you that he was hiding things from us when he was president. And the American people need to know, they needed to know about this. Like, this is just, it is so tacky. And I just, but why? Why be surprised that they,
by the way, the worst of the worst, if you ever want to talk about lowbrow and stupid, there's no one lower brow or stupider than Donald Trump Jr. Donald Trump Jr.'s post has got to be the stupidest thing that I've ever read in my life. I actually feel stupider for having read it. I'm going to feel stupider after reading it again. This is what Donald Trump Jr. posted, and this is within hours of the public disclosure that Joe Biden is suffering from aggressive prostate cancer that apparently has metastasized to his bones. It's very deadly cancer. He's in his 80s. This is a very difficult diagnosis. It is treatable, but the fact that this man is going through this and has faced so much death that is cancer related, this is what this bumbling boob decided to post on, I guess he posted it on his dad's stupid social media. What I want to know is, how did Dr. Jill Biden miss stage 5 metastatic cancer? Or is this yet another cover up? 3 question marks. First of all, stupid. Let's start with the fact that Dr. Jill Biden is a PhD in education. She's not a medical doctor, but apparently Donald Trump Jr. doesn't know the difference between an MD, and a PhD. So she's not that kind of doctor, you big dumbling boob. Number 2, there's no such thing as stage 5 cancer, dear. There's stage 4, but there's no stage 5. You just actually made that up in your own silly, stupid mind. You did spell metastatic right, which I'm actually shocked about. And a cover up of what? Why would Joe Biden have covered up stage 5 cancer? Clearly, he didn't know he had it if he's got stage 4 cancer. If he's got aggressive cancer, it means it was missed before, not by him. He had the best doctors in the world. Did they miss it? I don't know. But he's suffering. This is an old man who is suffering an illness. He's your dad's age. Grow up, show some respect. I know you can't do that, Don Jr. I know you're not capable of showing respect, but you know what? Actually, F off, Donald Trump Jr. F off in your eyeball, because that is the most repulsive thing that I ever have heard anybody post, other than the shit that y'all said about Nancy Pelosi's husband when he nearly got himself beaten to death. Y'all also made fun of that. So JD Vance, go to hell for everything you said about Kamala Harris, and Donald Trump Jr., go with him. The end.
The end. Well, the unfortunate part about this is that this rallies their base. MAGA people love this kind of stuff. They don't care. They
heartless.
They have no compassion.
None.
They are so heartless. Unless it's something that happens to Donald Trump. Other than that, they don't care about it.
They only care. And the thing is so crazy, they even are heartless about things happening to them. They themselves are losing farms, losing money, losing their businesses. They literally
losing
are so much
care.
Losing their jobs, losing their federal jobs, losing their VA benefits. All that that's how you know it's a cult. They only care about what happens to Trump. The only compassion they can dredge up in their minds, not for immigrants being ripped away from their parents, being locked up in El Salvador with no charges against them. They don't care about anyone, women dying from lack of abortion care. They only care about what happens to Trump. That is how you know it is a Jim Jones style cult, because they literally only care about him. And they're so anti-kindness and compassion that, according to Christianity Today, MAGA so-called Christians are getting angry at their pastors if they teach the red letters of Jesus, because they think that Jesus is too woke and they don't want to hear about all that turn the other cheek and compassion stuff. They want to hear about hurting immigrants, harming the poor, and giving the rich massive tax cuts, because they somehow think that's in the Bible. Maybe it's in the Trump Bible that he got made in China. Sorry.
Yeah, they're the lowest of the low. The only thing, I don't know the timing of when Joe Biden found out and the family found out about this diagnosis. The only silver lining in this, in my mind, a lot of people may not look at it that way, is that it coincides with the release of Jake Tapper's book that focuses on journalist Jake Tapper from CNN, this book that he just released that focuses on this so-called cover-up of Joe Biden's mental decline. And he was canceled from Jimmy Kimmel's show, Jake Tapper, as a guest. I like to think because now he's getting such massive pushback and criticism for even writing this book. I mean, I don't know Jake Tapper. He doesn't know me. I used to have a lot of respect for him, but it diminished over time based on how he covered the election and things like that. It diminished for me. But this, I'm done. I already don't watch CNN after they let go of Don Lemon. I hope this book tanks. I hope it tanks. And I feel like the timing of it now, with everything, because you do have, aside from the Trump deplorables, you do have a lot of people on the other side of the aisle that have been very sent out heartfelt messages to Joe Biden and his family, from both sides of the aisle, I will say. And a lot of people have been criticizing Jake Tapper, and he's been out there doing a media tour. You know how books go. Defending why he wanted to write this book, but now this is going to hurt it tremendously. And I am happy about that.
And by the way,
that's me being safe, but whatever.
I have a 2-word, answer to anyone who thinks that there needs to be an entire book about whether an 80-something-year-old man was beginning to go a little mind soft. My 2-word answer is Ronald Reagan.
Oh, girl, I was getting ready to say it for you. Yes.
Ronald Reagan had full-blown Alzheimer's.
Yes.
For we don't even know how much of his second term in office. And not a person that is whining and screaming about Joe Biden, who does not have Alzheimer's, who can be a little slow. He's a little shuffly. He'll forget a name, but so do I. He'll forget somebody's, he'll forget little things here and there, but so do I. And I'm in my 50s. This man is old. Old people go old. They're going to shuffle when they walk. They're going to do old people looking things. And him being old, my second 2 words that I have for him being elderly in office, who cares?
Right. He's not even the president anymore.
Who cares? Why do you need this book? And let's just say, okay, that Joe Biden was diminishing and sundowning a little bit during his first term in office. Did he incarcerate anyone in a gulag in a foreign country? No. Did he deny due process to anyone who was facing incarceration or arrest or an immigration violation? No. Did he attempt to erase Black history, women's history, gay history, LGBTQ history, make trans people freaking disappear? Did he take Medgar Evers and Jackie Robinson off of the websites of the military? No. Did he create a fascist nightmare for Americans wherein people are afraid to speak, afraid to have DEI programs at their jobs, afraid to protest on campus? Did he threaten to deport people for writing op-eds? No. And did he sink the United States into a recession on purpose by enacting insane 1930s style Smoot-Hawley tariffs that screwed up the economy? No. So I don't care if Joe Biden was sundowning, because I would have voted for him, as I said on social media. I said it public. I might have said it on Read This, Read That. I would have voted for him for re-election if he was literally a pile of mashed potatoes on the floor, potatoes before Trump.
He still was and will forever be a better president than Donald Trump. Period.
And Trump is sundowning too, by the way. That man can't speak a full sentence. He cannot get through a full sentence. He's clearly not well, and y'all don't have no books about that. And so I have big problems with Joe Biden. Him being old,
not with Joe. Oh yeah.
I don't care.
And I got big problems with Jake Tapper.
Why write a book like that? What for what?
Girl, I don't even know what he was thinking, or the publisher, or maybe he went to MAGA Media, book publishing, to get that one done. I'll never understand it, but hey,
it's all about feeding the MAGA. Anyway, people are all trying to kiss up to these people. You can't kiss up to them. Know that they're like Trump. There's nothing you can do.
There's nothing. There's nothing. I will just say what needs to happen is that the Democratic Party needs to be working, and independents and anyone with any sanity, sane Republicans. There needs to be a coalition of people internationally and here that need to be working on removing this man from office. I mean, he has, the military should step in because he is laughing in the face of the Constitution. He doesn't respect it. There needs to be an effort underway to remove him from office, by force or otherwise. I don't understand why why Mike Pence should be a part of it. Everybody Dick Cheney, George Bush, everybody needs to be. They need to do something. I mean, I know, but it's crazy. All right, let's move on, because Camille's going to break her finger on that bell. I've heard it. She's like, I'm waiting on that.
Rap.
So let's talk about Democratic Congresswoman LaMonica McIver, who was in New Jersey when the mayor of Newark, Ras Baraka, was arrested out. I don't want to say what people were doing there. I don't think it was a protest that they were engaging in. They were there. I'm gonna, please, give us some details on that. But now she is being charged with obstruction of justice, or I'm not sure what she's being charged with.
Assault on law enforcement officers.
Assaulting a law enforcement officer. Now she's being charged. But here's my thing. What's his name? Who's the head of the Democratic Party? Who talks in cadence all the time? What's the light-skinned brother's name? That's always rhyming. And
you're talking about Hakeem Jeffries.
Hakeem Jeffries, him. See,
Joe Biden rhyme any old time.
Girl, I can't. I love him, but I know
I do.
He was saying that if these charges were brought, I saw him on television last week somewhere or online saying that if these charges were dropped, it was going to be, it was going to be crossing a line. Not that they haven't crossed several lines before, but this is my issue with the Democratic Party. So now they brought the charges. Now what you going to do, Hakeem? What y'all doing? They've crossed. You said it was a line. They know better than to do this. Well, they're doing it. Yeah. What are y'all doing?
And just if you all are not familiar, and by the way, you can read my latest piece, which I was late to this podcast getting up live on joyannereid.com, aka Joy's House. I did write about it. LaMonica McIver was there with, as you said, Bonnie Watson Coleman, Rob Menendez, 3 members of Congress from New Jersey who have.
She was the one in the red, right?
She's the one in the red. The older woman is Bonnie Watson Coleman, who is in her 80s. And then you have Rob Menendez, who is the son of that other senator, of Senator Menendez, but he's the good Menendez. And he is, at least he's a good Menendez too. So the 3 of them were there as members of Congress who had the absolute constitutional right. It is written in statute that they are allowed to inspect any federal facility. This facility is not a real federal facility. Delaney Hall used to be a drug treatment center. It was converted by a company called the GEO Group. The GEO Group is a private prison company that has made almost more money than any other private prison company in the country from Donald Trump's mass incarceration policies, and whose CEO declared his mass incarceration and mass deportation policies to be a giant benefit, a boon to the business of the GEO Group. They gave more than $1 million to Donald Trump's inauguration, and the company was a huge donor to Donald Trump. That company is operating Delaney Hall, which used to be a drug treatment and rehab facility, as a private prison, and they are housing Black and brown. And from what I understand, I don't think there's anything but Black and brown migrants in that facility, who we don't know how they're being treated. We don't know that any of them are getting hearings. They're just being held there. Some of them apparently on charges as low as things like shoplifting. And they're preparing to deport them to we don't even know where, because they've been deporting people to we don't even know where. The Trump regime is making deals with countries like Equatorial Guinea and Syria, Libya. They're going to any country they can find who's willing to take migrants the way El Salvador did, Rwanda. And they're trying to ship people, brown and Black people, out of this country without any hearings. They don't care if the courts say that they can't do it. And so the mayor of Newark, Ras Baraka, who is, yes, the son of Amiri Baraka, the famous poet, who's now the mayor of the largest city in New Jersey, has been going there every day, not to protest, but to demand an inspection of the facility to see about the people in there, because they've got family members, they've got kids that are his constituents. He's their mayor. So he wants to know who's in there and how they're being treated. He's been going every day, and he has filed a lawsuit. There's a lawsuit pending right now against the GEO Group for not having a certificate of occupancy, which is the form you need. You need to have in order to operate. The old thing, the Delaney Hall has a certificate of occupancy, but the new thing, this prison does not. That's been the contention. The members of Congress were there along with a bunch of people who were protesting. But the 3 members were not protesting, and the mayor wasn't protesting on May 9th. It was just the protesters who've been there every day protesting this detainment without hearings. So the crowd was big. When the mayor gets there, the people inside Delaney Hall were like, can you, Mr. Mayor, come on this side of the fence? Come in the fence to stop the crowd from screaming, let the mayor in. They were chanting, let the mayor in. He then goes on that side of the fence. Then suddenly, out of nowhere, somebody called the feds in and had the feds come, and they went right to him, told him, come back outside. He came back outside the fence and immediately got arrested. No one else was touched. But then you have all these ICE and federal officials swarming the crowd. They didn't arrest anybody else, but they seemed, in the video I've seen, they seemed to be pushing and shoving Bonnie Watson Coleman, who again is in her 80s. She's Joe Biden's age. And they're pushing and shoving this older sister, this older senior citizen Congresswoman, and you can physically see on the video. The video is out. There's video from multiple angles,
Yeah.
including the body cam video. It does not show LaMonica McIver committing a crime. It shows LaMonica McIver trying to defend and use her body to protect Bonnie Watson Coleman, her elder, which is what she should have been doing. And the only people who were pushing, shoving, and acting violently were the law enforcement officers, not the Congresswoman. And the idea that you as a member of Congress can be arrested and charged with assaulting law enforcement officers for simply being shoved, for getting shoved, and for standing in the way so that an older woman couldn't be shoved is so insane. And the idea that you're being arrested for providing oversight, which is your job. It's her job. It's her fiduciary duty as a member of Congress to provide oversight over that facility that is gulagging people in America. Come on now. Y'all think
here's what I'm
going to say this last thing, Jackie, and I'll get off my soapbox.
Yeah.
You have been saying for weeks, since the election, for months, that we as Black people cannot sit on the fence. Remember, you kept saying that. You kept saying Kamala has to get everybody.
Yeah.
The fence is busted, y'all. The fence is gone because now it's not just brown migrants and people whose families voted for Trump, who were Latinos for Trump. I will vote, ding, 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 for Donald Trump. Remember the song? It's not just them. It's literally Black women who are now at the front and center of the arrest list from this regime because they were waiting for the chance to arrest somebody like her and somebody like Ras Baraka. We're now getting arrested. Black folks, Black members of Congress, and Black elected officials. And note that Ras Baraka is running for governor of New Jersey. Don't think that that is a coincidence that he was targeted. He was charged with federal trespassing in his own city. And then they had to drop those charges because those charges were bullshit. And these charges are also bullshit. The end. I'm done.
Yeah. I mean, listen, two things. I have been, saying that we as Black women, as Black people, we don't have the luxury or the privilege to sit it out and sit on a rooftop and watch the world burn or watch this country burn while brown people get locked up. Oh, it's not impacting us. We over here doing the, Cupid shuffle or whatever, having boots on the ground. And because eventually, when you're dismantling the Constitution and you're ignoring the judicial system and you're getting rid of diversity, equity, and inclusion, and you're going after universities and you're going after the media, all of that impacts us, right? And it's going to hurt us the most.
Yes.
So it is, I keep seeing things on social media with Black women specifically saying, that ain't got nothing to do with us. That whole attitude needs to be thrown out. It is time to let that shit go. You need to re-engage and pay attention to what is going on in this country and get ready in whatever way possible. It's not enough to be registered to vote. You may not be able to vote at all.
That's right.
Come time for various elections that are coming up based on what Donald Trump is doing, right? At our national museums and things like that. Like, so many things are happening, and I'm tired of people saying, well, that's just a distraction. That's just a distraction. No, it's not just a distraction. Shit is happening. He's doing things. It's not just he's trying to shock and awe and do all these things. The things that he's doing, they are moving us further and further away from freedom as a country.
Yeah.
From what the United States, if there's anything you celebrated about this country, those things are being dismantled by this president. I mean, it is annoying as fuck to me for Black women to still be like, nah, girl, that ain't got nothing to do. Y'all, good luck on that. I'll be over here sipping my cocktail. No, it's time to get re-engaged. The other point that I want to make is, okay, she's been charged, now what? What are the Democrats going to do? It's like I was talking about Hakeem Jeffries, talking about, they know not to do that. And now they've done it. Now what? Okay, we can talk about it until we're blue in the face, but what are they going to do? Like, I'm sick of this. We're talking about these things. This is happening. That's happening. But what's being done about it?
I would like to see, and I'm not a lawyer, but this is the thing that I have put out in the universe that I think should happen. I do believe that there must be a defamation lawsuit available to LaMonica McIver. She has been called a violent criminal by Alina Habba. That seems defamatory to me. And I think that if there is a world in which people are willing to give to a legal defense fund or a fund for her to defend herself, it's expensive to get charged with a crime. This is designed to make her broke. This is designed to break her financially. Members of Congress on the right are talking about kicking her and Representatives Menendez and Bonnie Watson Coleman out of Congress, which they can't do because you need a 2/3 majority to do it, to kick them off their committees, to punish them like Marjorie Taylor Greene was punished for doing literal violations of the House rules. These people have not violated anything. They've not committed any crime. They are doing oversight. And if the Republicans in Congress want to allow oversight to be criminalized, just wait, because that worm will turn. And you think you're going to be in power forever. The Democrats did too. You always think your power will last forever. It never does. Eventually, this shit is going to reverse. And you Republicans are going to be on the other side of this shit. And the reality is,
when?
But it will. It will eventually. But here's the thing.
Talking about running for another term.
No, I'm not talking about that. And the reality, no, and right, it could be 15 years. We don't know how long we're going to be stuck in this fascist hell. We don't know. But we know eventually it will end. We just don't know how long it will take for it to end. It will end. I do believe it will end.
How?
I don't know how. I don't know how. But in the interim, what I would say is, when you are facing an enemy that is coming at you with everything but the kitchen sink, you need to go get you a kitchen sink. Start thinking outside the box. Democrats do not have a majority in the House. They cannot vote in any committee to do anything to Republicans. They don't have the votes to do anything to Republicans formally, but you can go informal. You can go crazy. Start suing these sons of bitches. Start suing Alina Habba. Class action lawsuit. Make them spend money. Drag Alina Habba into court. Drag Mike Johnson into court. Class action lawsuit. Make them spend, because you can't. We can't tell them to do things that are not possible. Democrats do not have enough votes to do anything to Donald Trump or do anything to the Republicans.
He doesn't listen to the courts. He doesn't abide by rulings from the courts.
Harass it. You at this point, you have to do something, because otherwise you're doing nothing. Because the alternative is to do what? Protest, march? I don't know. That's not going to help. At this point, we need to use the one thing that's still standing in our system, and that is the courts. The courts have ruled against Trump something like 200 times already. He's even lost to the Supreme Court.
Felon who was elected to he's a president after being a convicted felon.
Then what would you suggest? If it's not,
this is what I'm saying. I don't know. I do agree with you that we have to think out of the box.
Yes,
but I don't know. Like, to me, all the people that I named, and even though you were saying Mike Pence is going to be a part of that, Dick Cheney,
do nothing.
That's extreme. To me, there has to, like, to me, Barack Obama, Kamala, George Bush,
all they can do is statements. But they can do
more than statements.
Like
they have relationships. I don't know, something internationally. I don't know. We're always getting involved internationally with other countries and what they're doing. Maybe it's an internet. I don't know what it is, but something needs to happen. That is extreme.
By the way, I will say, on the international tribunal front, we have already seen the ICJ, the International Court of Justice, what we call The Hague, already condemn the Netanyahu government for what they are doing to Palestinian children in Gaza, and for the apartheid that the ICJ has ruled that they are operating in the West Bank. You know what that has resulted in? Nothing. The international community, the international bodies like the United Nations and the ICJ have no power to do anything other than maybe sanctions. And at this point, we may have reached the point where the United States needs to be sanctioned internationally, like South Africa was. It may be that we've exhausted the options for doing this internally, and we may need to turn to the old-fashioned forms of opposing fascist governments, because the government in white South Africa was a fascist government, and it was ultimately brought down by sanctions and by divestment. And so we are Americans. We don't want to see our own country divested of, but maybe it's time to treat the U.S. like South Africa was treated.
It is.
I don't know. But all I'm thinking is think outside the box.
That's what I'm saying. Hillary Clinton has, and Barack Obama, and the list goes on and on, of people on the Democratic side, but on both sides, who have international relationships. You know what I mean? Figure something out. These are some of the smartest people on the planet. Figure something out. Like, I don't know, but I'm sick of this man getting away with everything. I'm just sick of it. I don't have all the answers, right? But somebody, you know, like I said, these are some of the most brilliant people on the planet. Figure something out. Come together. Do something. I don't know, but they need to do something.
Well, I'm with my lawsuit idea. I like my lawsuit idea. I say, make Alina Habba pay.
I'm not mad at that, but you know, people have sued him before, and to what end?
I'm not talking about him. No, I'm talking about him. I'm talking about her. Alina Habba is not Donald Trump. Alina Habba doesn't have the resources, and she doesn't have the ability to do what Trump can do. This woman said that LaMonica McIver is a felon and a violent criminal. She accused her of felonious criminality, and I think there should be some way that if LaMonica McIver has to spend money on attorneys to defend herself in this case, Alina Habba should have to spend money on attorneys. Tit for tat. It is time to start using the courts. And I'm not talking about Trump at this moment. In this moment, I'm talking about his minions, because his minions are the ones that are harassing members of Congress for doing their job. That's just my thought. I'm not a lawyer. It's just my personal.
Speaking of lawyers, they should work to disbar all of the attorneys that are what, like, but this is what I'm saying. They should be working to disbar these people. Things should be happening. This was my problem with, I love Joe Biden, but when he was president, when he had the time to add to the Supreme Court, to do certain things, there were things that he could have done before he left office, right?
28th Amendment, 28th Amendment, ratify the 28th Amendment. You could have done it.
And this is what I'm talking about, is the respectability politics that the Democrats play, that they don't want fight. They don't want to fight fire with fire. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it. I'm sorry.
Ding.
Ding, 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 ding. Okay. We don't want to, because you have a heart out, and I want to run out of time before we talk about two things. And one of them is the Nottoway Plantation, which burned to the motherfucking ground, and Black people are celebrating.
Burn, baby, burn. Disco, burn.
Burn. Girl, these memes, which people doing boots on the ground, the memes that have been going around, I'm sure this is a game of spades. You got a DJ and a barbecue. Girl, there is one where there's all kinds of activity, and Harriet Tubman blowing the flames from up above.
Look at the smile. Look at the
smile. I love it. So
it
was the largest. Goodness. Oh God. Okay, Angela Bassett, the largest antebellum, the largest plantation mansion in the South, built into 1950s. So it's a 160-year-old structure, 53,000 square feet, all in all. That's what it sat on. So many rooms, doors and windows. It goes on and on. They don't know what the cause of the fire is yet, that I've heard. They don't know if it was electrical or something like that, but that bitch burned to the ground. And this is what was happening there. They were giving tours and having events there, and really kind of lying about what slavery was. Really
not lying. No, ma'am, not lying. On the website for Nottoway Plantation, there's no mention of slavery at all. There is literally no. When you go to the about pick, and I did this because I wrote a piece again on my Substack, joyandreid.com, about this, and there was a fellow Substacker wrote, and I went and I said, let me do my own research and just check it. And he was absolutely right. A guy who writes about the Civil War.
They talked about it, but they talked about it like, you know.
Oh, in a nice way. Oh, yes. That they took.
Yeah, they talk about it in a nice way. They don't ignore.
But on the website, when you go to go to it, when you go to the about page, the only thing it has is it talks about the age and back histories of the trees on the plantation. It says nothing about the fact that this 6,000 square foot plantation area, that the building was built by enslaved people, that the man who built it amassed this huge sugar plantation. He had 155 enslaved captive people on that plantation. When the Civil War broke out, he skedaddled to Texas, took the enslaved people with him, and then after the Civil War came back with a bunch of them as indentured workers. Essentially, they were sharecroppers on his plantation. They kept working for him for a pittance of money. This thing has passed from person to person to person. And rather than do it like the Whitney Plantation, which is like a museum where you can go and find the history of slavery, which is what it should be. Instead, it's like a cute place to have a wedding. Why would you want to have a wedding with all them ghosts? And so wait, I got to tell you the two paranormal theories behind the fire. Have you heard these?
No, please share.
Okay. Number one, Annabelle, the haunted doll.
Yeah.
Have you heard about Annabelle? So Annabelle, the haunted, apparently cursed, demon cursed doll, is on a tour around the country. Apparently, Annabelle toured and was in New Orleans the day before. So people are all over the socials, all over TikTok saying, not a coincidence. Annabelle was there. And then the second one was all of the Black folks and some white folks too that are posting pictures of the flames and showing what they say are spirits. You can see in the flames that you can see the ghosts of the enslaved people standing in the windows. Baby, when I tell you I was in a wormhole yesterday.
Oh my God.
Look at that. And they were circling it. They had their little, they used a little digital magic marker and circled the ghosts. I was in ghost heaven yesterday. I was in ghost heaven. Because it's like, you go to ghost to the maid. This the ghost of the lady who used to take care of the kids.
Is that what they're doing? Naming who the ghosts are?
The ghosts.
I love it. Wow.
Paranormal. But apparently this is one of the most haunted venues in Louisiana. People have told stories for years about staying at the Nottoway, staying overnight, and all kind of crazy paranormal things happening. So it is, so probably who burned it down is probably the ancestors.
Girl, listen. Burn, baby, burn. Also want to talk about the Black woman statue that was erected in New York. And people were complaining about it. So it's a 12, there it is right there. And there were some Black people, Black women among them, complaining that this was not a woman who represented Black women well. She wasn't attractive enough. She wasn't this, she wasn't that, which I think is crazy. I think we come in all shapes and sizes and look and hues and hairstyles and things like that. You know, everybody can't walk out there like Olivia Pope and just have on a suit and this and that and be dressed in Prada or, you know, some designer frock like that. This represents, you know, so many Black women that we know. And I love that Lizzo drove home the point and took this picture that you're looking at here out in front of the statue, saying that she looks like me, she looks like you, she looks like so many people that we know. So it's a 12-foot bronze sculpture of an anonymous Black woman. The creator is artist Thomas J. Price. It's part of a series called Grounded in the Stars, designed to challenge preconceived notions of identity. So as I said, the statue